All right, welcome back to shop. Still working on proof of concept sharpening bandsaw blades. And I'm going to try not to say 100 times in this video. So what I have is, I asked a friend of mine who's got a wood miser up in New Hampshire to bring me a couple of bandsaw blades while I'm waiting on my HD36 Norwood V2. And it's been shipped. I got a tentative delivery date of the 9th. So he brought me a couple of bandsaw blades to work on. I don't know if you saw the other video, but on the Foley bell saw over here that I've been setting up to auto sharpen blades. And that was proof of concept to make sure that it would do it. And I have the other video. If you guys want to watch it, you can see it running and see it, how sharp that it made this bandsaw blade that I was practicing on. So when he dropped me off the blades, he left me in Oregon 511, I think it's 511A. Yeah, 511A. I've got a 52120. And he also left me, which should be kind of tomorrow's project, a two-setter that the old man that he bought his wood miser from was using. So I think the old man was using this too, and he gave him this with the mill. Craig wasn't using it, and he gave him this little homemade, well, it might even be a wood miser, I'm not sure. It's kind of painted wood miser colors. Looks, yeah, it looks pretty professionally done. You know, you can see it's all tapped holes, everything's painted. This doesn't look like something somebody put together at home. I think this might even be a wood miser product, or this old man did a terrific job making this thing. But this will be tomorrow's project for setting teeth. Today was about converting this. Basically, it's a chainsaw, running chainsaw wheel, Oregon chainsaw wheel. It's not very, now I don't know if he's used up 100 of these or not, but this one's not very used up. It's, you know, had a basic profile on it, so you can see he had rounded off the back side where it goes in next to the tooth. And I'll get you down here and show you everything in a minute. So what I've wanted was, I have a way on the bell saw just to do, you know, basically basic maintenance sharpening, just doing the tooth face and even the top tooth line if I want to, and do it automatically. But I was going to have to grind out the gullets eventually, or set up one of my grinders to do it, which was my plan. But since he left me this, I decided I'll mess with this one and see how I can make it come out. I had to rearrange the base a little bit. I had to space the motor over, and I'll show you all this, like I said. And I had a couple of wheels. Show you those two. Hold on one sec. Get you kind of down like this while I'm grabbing these wheels. I had a few, you know, wheels lying around, and I had an inch thick one. I had a 6-inch pretty coarse one. It's older. I don't know how long I've had it. And I also had a 6-inch thick wheel, which will not fit inside this housing. I thought maybe I would grind it off, but I was going to use one of mine. And I had to go down to the hardware store to pick up some longer bolts, cap screws, to be able to space this motor off to run a 3/4 wheel in here. And they had just a fine grit 3/4 wheel sitting there with all the adapters inside. I was going to turn a flange on the lathe. I already had the stock out here and everything. And when I saw this one with the adapters in it, I said, you know, I'll put it on, I'll throw an indicator on it, see how far it's off. And I tapped it around a little bit. I got it running fairly true. But I knew that I was going to be doing a bunch of dressing on this wheel. that I'll show you in a second. And I figured it was going to true up, which it did, and it's running actually fairly true right now. There's still a little vibration in it. Now I haven't trued this space on this side. I got my finger on it right now. I have trued the back side a little bit, the side that goes against the tooth. Now every time I slow it down, I just hold this old, got one of these old, and this, one reason it's shaking too is it's just clamped down on the bench here, and it's actually moving around a little bit. But one of these old Harbor Freight diamond blocks that's been sitting in my sharpening station over here, so I was using the coarse side on this for some of the shaping, and also to slow the wheel down. Just kind of rested against this side over here, and I trued up this side, you know, nice and perfectly flat. So now what I have is, I have a grinder that will do, right now it's set at 7 degrees, this 7 degree rake blade. And the stone has been profiled to the gullet profile, and it will grind the face and the gullet at the same time. Depending on how much the blade's beat up, I can go deeper in the gullet, or I can barely kiss the gullet if I want to. You know, I can just clean up the tooth, whatever. But this does a wicked job. These blades were wasted on his mill. He just built a timber frame up in New Hampshire, and they milled all their own lumber. And these blades were wasted blades. I asked them to bring me a couple of trash ones, and these are pretty dull. You know, there are some sharp spots on them, but you know, overall these are fairly dull. They're pretty beat up. So I'm going to sharpen these and give them back to him so he can run them. I appreciate him. He dropped me off this grinder. You know, I have, like I said, I have 2 of them, but I didn't wreck this in any way. This is still can be a chainsaw chain grinder with this wheel will go back on here. Even the way I spaced it, it will still go back on there, and I have all the you know, the guard and all the parts and everything. So you know, nothing has been destroyed on this the way it is. Now, this is proof of concept for this grinder, and where I'm going to go with this, I'm not sure yet. I would like to replace this entire rest with something different, just a plate with a channel in it, because I have to, and believe me, there's no way around this on this. Have the cam lock for the blade to tension the blade in the channel has to be on the backside on this. Now I probably will make a flat plate with a channel with a, and the rest, the stop has to be on this side. It was in the way over here. It still would clear over here, but the problem with it being on that side is it pushes this away from the tension. So, and the grinder won't tilt the other direction to be able to flip the blade inside. So the teeth are facing the other way, and do it the other way. You're still pushing the stop away from the tension. And you know, I obviously could make anything I want, which is what I will probably do. And whether I'm going to make an auto feed for it or not, I don't know. But I don't need one of those cams that lifts this up and down and all that, because this will, I mean, that will make it ride the profile of the tooth line, because this will grind the whole gullet the way it is with this 3/4 wheel. I shaped the 3/4 wheel. I have a couple of different, I went looking for a diamond dresser today. I couldn't find one. And I have, you know, a standard cheaper one. I'm not sure where I got this. It might have been Tractor Supply. I have an old Starrett also. This is an old Starrett dresser. And I did it with these. It doesn't take very long at all. You know, you start out here on the edge. When I take you out of the camera, I'm just trying to explain everything, but when I take you out of the camera, show you the changes in the profile, and I'll grind a couple teeth. When you profile the 3/4 wheel, you're going to set it over at your rake angle, which is 7 degrees. I matched it. I did end up you know, checking the blade to make sure that it was 7 degrees, but I got a feeling it was anyway. And then when you go ahead and set it down in the gullet, you'll see where it's hitting, and you start grinding there. So what I ended up doing was basically just taking this block of white oak. You won't be able to see my face for a second, but and sticking it in here so I could hold against it, and you know, shaping it off with one hand like this. And like I said, it did not take very long. Probably took me maybe 5 or 6 iterations. So I'd grind it, and then I would check it, and I'd see where more needed to come off, and then I'd grind it, and I would check it. It probably took me 5 or 6 times to get the profile where it is. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because it's going to make the profile, you know, whatever the shape of the stone is. And then it will just keep grinding them that way. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I got this one pretty good though. You know, I looked at where it was hitting, took out the high spots until it was hitting the entire gullet, and it's doing a phenomenal job. And I'll show you when I get the camera down there. So I'm gonna get you over here for a second, keep you in the tripod. So everybody always complains that the camera bouncing around. You know, because I always hold everything by hand. But you know, basically it's like any chainsaw grinder now. I can set the depth, I can set the rake angle, I can set fleam on this if I, for whatever reason you're going to cut fleam on this, but that's for chainsaw chains. You can set the stop. You can actually set positive and negative angle on the fleam also with this one, but it's always going to be basically set at 0, and you know, depth stop, and this racked over to 7 degrees. So I apologize for any of the noise, anything shaking around over here, but you'll be able to see this 2-spin ground. So I do have to reach underneath just to take the tension off, and then basically pull it over one tooth, tension it back up, and I'll do, let me go ahead and put some Sharpie on this one, so I'll show you how it takes it off. Can't feel where it's shaking here. You just hit that one more time. That tension over. I would like this rest to have taller walls on it to hold this blade a little bit more solid. I mean, right now you can't move it right now with this cam locked over. It's tight. Looks like I need to go down just a hair. Okay. And what I was doing was to adjust the side plate here, was just bringing it down to speed with the diamond right resting against the side plate. And it's made it really, really smooth on the side plate here, because this is just a cheap stone at, you know, hardware store, $20 stone. So I'm going to take you out of the tripod, show you the tooth line. So I hate having the forward-facing camera like this, but makes it so I keep myself in frame. Let's see if I can get you in focus there. It's so hard for me to see what's going on with the forward-facing camera. So it cuts, you know, the profile perfect. I can get you back maybe a little bit and get something in here for focus. You can see the 7-degree, make sure I'm in focus. You can see the 7-degree rake angle. It's perfectly straight. This tooth is silly sharp. And you can also see, I can see it. I hope you can. Make sure I can see my finger. There you go. I don't know if you can see the gullet is all shiny there. I can see it in the light, so I hope you can too. But I took all the Sharpie off. You can see the one in front. Maybe you can see these two. You can see how, you know, it's grinding it perfectly out, the gullet. And you see that 7-degree tooth line. You know, you get your nice straight tooth, perfect 7 degrees, gullet's ground out. I can actually feel the burr on the backside. So this, for proof of concept wise, works great. Now you can see I put some spacers. These were 3/8 spacers. They were in with the aluminum crimpable shackles wire, the big wire crimps. And they also had polymer ones, and I bought a bunch of those too, not knowing whether I was going to grind off that 1-inch wheel a little bit, try to get it to fit in here. I had to buy some longer M5 bolts, cap head screws to go in here, and I had to buy a longer M6 screw to go through here. I did it all by eye. I have plenty of clearance. It's not rubbing. And as you can see, you know, the chainsaw pink wheel would go back on here and you could still use it. So the profile, let me go over one tooth so that you can see what a new tooth would look like in the profile. I just cut myself. So let me just get my finger in there so I can make sure you're looking in the right spot. Yep. Okay. I'm going to bring the wheel down. So you can see how good that, put you back in the tripod. I don't want to get Uncle Si mad at me for camera motion. I apologize for moving it all around. So, waiting for the mill, proof of concept wise, this works. So you could buy one of those Tecumseh clones of the Oregons. Here, let me show you what this is.